The broadcast looped across every major galactic channel. Again and again. Flames, screams, and a dark shape coiled above a burning mining outpost on Tau 4. Wings like the sails of ancient warships. Eyes like binary stars, cold, cruel, calculating. When it opened its mouth, it didn't breathe fire. It unraveled physics. Torrents of violet antimatter plasma, twisting space like ribbon, shredding titanium bunkers into whispers of dust. The creature landed among twisted wreckage and roared, one long, bone-shaking sound that shorted satellites and froze oxygen in open tanks. A new alien threat? No. The message embedded in the footage was simple. Send your best, or surrender your species' souls. The press called it the Dragon of Velkaroon. The military called it a crisis. Humans, we called it a challenge. Colonel Rissa Cade stared at the hollow display of the dragon and blinked. Twice. She took a slow sip of instant coffee, so strong it could strip paint. Then, without looking, she muttered, "Someone actually named this operation Dragon Slayer." Across from her, in the mission briefing room, Doc Milo Tanaka nodded way too enthusiastically. Yup, all caps, no creativity, but I did convince them to let me design the team patch. He turned, lifting the back of his grease-streaked lab coat. A poorly drawn dragon being punted by a cartoon human boot grinned back at her. "God help us," Rissa muttered. "Probably not," said Axel Rohn, leaning against the wall with a lit cigar and a bionic arm that looked more like a weaponized toolbox. "But I'm pretty sure the dragon's gonna need help when I'm done with it." "Cocky much?" said a quiet voice. They all turned to Z, small, serious, and impossibly calm, sitting cross-legged in the corner, tuning a flute made of cerulean glass. "Nope," Axel grinned. "Just heavily armed and lightly medicated." Rissa rolled her eyes and stood. Her voice dropped into command tone, silencing even Milo's bouncing foot. "Listen up. Command picked you because you're weird, unstable, or just too damn useful to ignore. I didn't pick you to kill the dragon. I picked you because no one knows how to kill it. And when no one knows how to do something, you send humans." She pointed to the screen as it shifted. Satellite scans of a ruined moon, Velkaroon Prime. Environmental conditions. Hostile. Terrain. Actively trying to kill you. Dragon. Bigger than a Corvette. Smarter than most senators and really pissed off. "We're landing in 6 hours. Wait, Milo piped up. "Didn't the mining outpost try nukes?" "They did. It ate them." Axel whistled. "Guess it's got taste." Z spoke softly. "It's not just a monster. You can hear it if you listen to the recordings in reverse. The frequency isn't random. It's communicating, screaming, mourning." Rissa gave her a long, thoughtful look. "You think it's grieving?" "I think someone took something from it. And now it wants us to pay." Aboard the HSS Javelin, the atmosphere was tense, but tinged with something uniquely human. Humor under fire. The smell of solder and adrenaline filled the air. The ship's AI chimed calmly. "Now entering orbit over Velkaroon Prime. Surface scan. 89% volcanic activity. Life signs, singular, massive, circling impact crater. Friendly neighborhood kaiju confirmed, Axel muttered, checking his explosive charges like he was prepping for a party. Milo adjusted the straps on his gear, mostly made of things no one recognized. If we get close enough, I might be able to short-circuit its energy emissions, assuming I survive long enough to get close, or invent new physics. Rissa strapped in. Your job is to invent physics faster than we die. Z pressed her forehead to a crystalline orb she used for resonance calibration. If I can get its attention long enough, I might reach it, but I'll need to be somewhere high and exposed. You're describing bait, Axel said, grinning. I'm describing trust, she replied. The ramp hissed open. Smoke rolled in. The planet's surface was broken glass and fire. Lightning crackled across a violet sky where stars should have been. And something far off, something colossal, moved. The first 2 hours were reconnaissance. The second 2 hours were running. The creature didn't stalk like a beast. It studied them, darting through volcanic spires, sending tremors underfoot to force missteps. It destroyed every drone Milo launched, and it never fully revealed itself. Only glints of obsidian armor and sun-colored eyes from behind fog and flame. Then, without warning, it struck. Rissa's mech pilot was incinerated in his suit before he could scream. A burst of antimatter scorched a canyon into the moon's crust. Axel tackled Milo out of the shockwave, cursing in 3 languages. Z stood, hair flying, eyes wide, humming a series of notes against the wind. And for one impossible moment, the dragon stopped. It looked at her, tilted its angular head. Then someone, a nervous marine, fired a single railgun shot, and the spell shattered. The beast roared, not in anger, but betrayal. It vanished in a flash of light and displaced air, and the humans were alone again. They regrouped in a lava tube. Axel nursed a scorched shoulder. Milo was halfway through building a sonic translator from shattered comms and a power cell. I told you it wasn't attacking out of rage, Z whispered, clutching a bloodied recording device. That roar! It was saying a name. A name. Rissa sat, jaw tight. We were sent to kill it. We never stopped to wonder why it let us live. Milo looked up. Because it's smarter than us? Because it's waiting for something, Z answered. Axel tossed a marshmallow onto a glowing rock. Guess the question is, what's it waiting for? And above them, the mountain shook again. The dragon had heard them. And it wasn't done yet. There was a stillness before the next strike, too quiet like the planet itself was holding its breath. The team emerged from the lava tube at dawn, or what passed for it on Vel Karun Prime. The sky was cracked open with lightning. Rivers of liquid rock flowed down ridges like veins in a dying giant. Everything smelled like ozone and regret. Rissa scanned the horizon, her hood flickering with static. We've got 10 clicks to the crater edge. Stay low, stay fast, and Milo. Yes, boss? Try not to blow anything up before breakfast. No promises, he said, already fiddling with a blinking gadget that looked suspiciously like a war crime. Axel grinned and loaded another magazine into his launcher. Let's dance, lizard. They made it 5 kilometers before the ground betrayed them. A low-frequency rumble, not seismic, not mechanical, personal, like a subwoofer pressed against your ribs. The dust trembled, the air thickened. "Spread out," Rissa barked. Too late. The dragon came in low. 1 second. The sky was empty. The next, it was alive with shadow and fury. Wings unfolded from behind a rock spire, blotting out the light. Obsidian scales glinted like dying stars. Its chest glowed with unstable antimatter, like a furnace stoked with stolen suns. "Move!" Rissa shouted. A burst of plasma ripped through the ridge they were crossing. Axel dove, caught Z mid-slide. Milo's translator exploded in his hands. The Javelin support drone vanished in a bright violet bloom. "It's like it knows where we're going!" Milo shouted, coughing from the ash. "Because it does!" Rissa snapped. "This isn't a beast, it's a hunter!" They scrambled into a gully, gasping and scorched. The dragon perched above them like a god of judgment. It didn't attack again. It watched. Z stood, bleeding from her forehead, holding her shattered flute. "I can reach it," she whispered. "I felt it hesitate. It remembers something. Pain. Loss. Maybe even us." Rissa looked up at the massive creature, its talons grinding into basalt, its eyes glowing like they'd seen empires burn. "You want to have a chat with that thing?" Z wiped blood from her cheek. "We keep trying to win this like it's a war, but maybe it's not. Tell that to the dead miners. Maybe it wasn't them it came for." Axel spat. "You hear that, Colonel? The dragon's misunderstood. Probably just lonely. Maybe it wants to cuddle." Z didn't flinch. Maybe it wants answers. Maybe it wants justice. And maybe we're just the next voice in a conversation we didn't start. They retreated to a high plateau by nightfall. Milo rebuilt his translator from what little tech he could salvage. Axel set proximity mines along the ridge, whistling tunelessly. The stars blinked coldly above, distant and disinterested. "You know," Axel said, tossing a stone off the edge, "I've met some freaky things in the galaxy. Mind leeches, gravity spiders, tax auditors. But this takes the damn cake." Rissa gave him a side glance. "You scared?" "I'm offended. That thing doesn't fight fair. No honor, no style." "Maybe it doesn't want to kill us," Milo offered, tightening a capacitor. "Maybe it wants us to see something. Something we buried." "Like what?" Rissa asked. Milo looked up. "Like our own reflection." There was silence, and then Z's voice, quiet, measured. "I saw a symbol carved into the rocks near its lair. It looked Terran, old, pre-unification era." "That's impossible. Or someone lied." The next day, they reached the edge of the crater. It wasn't just a nest. It was a graveyard. Scattered bones of colony machinery. Charred insignias from corporations long since absorbed. Melted dog tags, cargo containers etched in English, rusted and broken, and one structure, half buried, half melted, that once read, "Project Daedalus, Experimental Terraforming Engine, Property of Earth Corp." Z knelt by it, eyes wide. We did this. Humans built here. We tried to reshape the planet. We must have killed something important to it. Rissa stared at the carnage. That wasn't in any briefing. Of course not, Milo said grimly, because Command didn't know, or didn't want to know. A tremor, a gust of heat, and the dragon returned. It landed at the rim of the crater, wings spread wide. Dust blew outward in concentric waves. It didn't attack. It stood, regal and angry, waiting. What the hell is it doing? Axel said. Z stepped forward. It's giving us a chance. To do what? Rissa asked. To tell the truth. Z walked forward alone, holding the rebuilt resonance flute. She blew a single note. The dragon's eyes narrowed. Then it responded. A low, harmonic vibration. Not a roar. A chord. Milo's translator kicked in. Home. Broken. Name lost. Fire stolen. Return denied. The dragon stopped, looked down at her. Its neck curled. A rumble built deep in its chest. Milo stared at the translator. It remembers its mate, or its people, or its past. What's it saying now? Z turned. It says we broke something we didn't understand, and it wants us to understand what it feels like. At that exact moment, a bright flash cut across the crater. Another dropship, not theirs. Mercenaries, armored, armed to the teeth. A voice crackled through the team's comms. This is Crimson Apex. Orders are simple. Kill the beast, claim the bounty, clean the mess, step aside or be collateral. Axel muttered, Oh, they picked the perfect time. The mercs opened fire. Missiles screamed. The dragon screamed louder. This time there was no hesitation. The next moments were chaos. Fire, dust, ruptured air. Plasma discharges shattered rock. Mercenaries turned to ash. Axel tackled one out of mid-air with a war cry. Rissa shot down a gunship using a stolen launcher. Z was caught in a blast, thrown off her feet, bleeding. Milo shielded her with his body, yelling over the roar. Colonel, I have one shot, one last drone, rigged with the resonance call. If I time it, do it! Milo tossed the drone high. It spun, blinked, and sang out across the crater in a pitch that was alien and aching. The dragon stopped mid-attack, turned, heard the sound. Its eyes dimmed. Then it let out a low, guttural sound, grief incarnate, and backed away. The mercenaries were gone, vaporized or buried. The crater was quiet again, and the dragon simply stood at the edge, staring down at the ruins of the structure humanity had once called progress. It looked at Rissa, at Z, at Milo, then took one final step and flew upward into the clouds, gone. The crater lay quiet, smoldering in the aftermath. The dragon was gone, for now. Its departure hadn't felt like a retreat. It felt like a warning. Rissa stood at the crater's rim, armor cracked, helmet dented, gaze locked on the sky where the beast had vanished. She exhaled slowly, jaw clenched. We bought time, not trust. Behind her, Milo knelt beside Z, patching a burn on her shoulder with a stim gel patch and half a prayer. She grimaced, but nodded thanks. "You were right," Rissa said, voice low. "It wasn't just attacking. It was asking." Z looked up, weary but steady. "And when we didn't listen, it roared louder." Axel stood over the ruined remains of one of the Merc gunships. His arm was blackened, fingers twitching as he rewired a power core like a man preparing an electric sermon. "So," he said without turning, "who sent Crimson Apex?" Rissa's HUD flickered. A comm line was open and encrypted. A voice crackled through. "Colonel Cade, this is command. Mission failure noted. You are now ordered to stand down. Termination asset en route. Protocol Omega-4. Milo paled. Omega-4? That's a planet killer, Rissa finished. The voice confirmed. Velkaroon Prime is now classified as a threat vector. Cleanse order active. 20 minutes to atmospheric entry. Z's eyes widened. They're going to glass the planet. Not just the planet, Rissa growled. The dragon. They want to erase it before it can raise more questions. But humans, we don't do quiet obedience. We do stupid ideas at high speed. Inside the wreckage of the Merc gunship, Milo ran his hands over a partially intact control console. Axel, I need 3 jump capacitors, a harmonic coil, and something that looks vaguely illegal. Define vaguely. Axel smirked, hauling a glowing crate. Z sat with the dragon's resonance data, pouring through sound patterns, heartbeats, and something deeper, like a lullaby etched in gravity. Rissa connected the dots. This dragon, it didn't just survive our weapons. It adapted to them. Repurposed energy, turned every attack into a signal. It's learning from us. Milo's eyes lit up. Exactly. It's not just powerful. It's creative. That thing is the galaxy's biggest improviser. Sounds like someone else I know, Rissa said, shooting him a half-smile. Z stood. If I can broadcast a full-frequency response, matching its grief pattern and adding our own, maybe we don't have to fight. Maybe we just have to apologize loud enough. Axel snorted. Apologizing to a supermassive alien war lizard with PTSD. That's our new plan. Rissa nodded. That's plan C. What were A and B? Shoot it. Then shoot it harder. Axel chuckled. Okay, plan C it is. They launched the transmitter drone 10 minutes before the orbital strike. The signal wasn't just noise, it was storytelling. Z's voice sang across dimensions, layered with the dragon's own tones. A melody of loss and memory. She wove into it an ancient Earth lullaby. The kind sung to children afraid of the dark. It reached the stratosphere in less than a minute. And something heard it. The sky shattered, not with plasma or fire, but with motion. The dragon returned, but not alone. From the black edge of space, others emerged, not as massive, not as armored, but similar, serpentine figures with wings made of compressed nebula gas and eyes like dying stars. Z gasped. It wasn't the last of its kind! Axel loaded a weapon anyway. Then who the hell are these guys? They're not here to fight, Rissa said. They're answering the call. Then behind them, a ripple of light. The approach of the Omega-4 warhead. Milo's readings spiked. Oh no, it's coming in hot, faster than I can jam it. Where's it headed? He pointed at the sky. Right where they are. Humanity had made a choice. Now Command had made theirs, and the price was extinction. Ours, theirs, or both. Axel turned to Rissa. We have one shot. Do it! He launched the modified drone, wired with resonance disruptors, shielding layers, and a hacked guidance override. It screamed upward. At the same time, Milo began broadcasting every fragment of memory they'd gathered. Human errors, lost colonies, miscommunications, betrayal, remorse. He encrypted it in sound, in color, in radiation. Humanity's apology. And just before the warhead reached them, the dragon caught the signal. It roared, not in rage, but as a final act of defiance. Wings spread, energy gathered. Then it dove straight into the warhead's path. There was no explosion. There was light, like a sun being born and a black hole collapsing at once. Then silence. The blast never reached the ground. No fire, no shockwave. Just the dragon, its body fading, wings dissolving into energy. It had consumed the warhead, transmuted it, turned death into life. The sky opened, and where there had been one dragon, now there were dozens. Milo collapsed, laughing and crying. Z stood silently, the flute in her hands glowing blue. Axel sat down and lit a cigar with a shaky hand. I think I just fell in love. Rissa stared into the sky. The galaxy just learned something about us, she said. What's that? Milo asked. That we break things, and sometimes we fix them. The next morning dawned slow. Velkaroon Prime had no birds, no oceans, no soft breeze to carry a sunrise. But something had changed. The air felt less heavy, the skies less hostile, and the silence for the first time felt peaceful. Not like absence, like forgiveness. Rissa Cade stood at the edge of the crater, her armor burned black, hair matted with dust and blood. She hadn't slept, not really. But she didn't need to. She had watched something ancient die, and something older still be born. The sky above shimmered faintly. Not smoke, not clouds. Dragons. 3 dozen of them, gliding across the upper stratosphere in graceful arcs, wings folded like origami constellations. The largest among them trailed embers from its tail that sketched slow lines across the sky. It wasn't their roar that echoed. It was their absence. Because the one that had spoken to them, the one that had taught them how to listen, was no longer flying. Z knelt at the base of the transmission tower, fingers trembling slightly as she etched a final set of notes into the base of the resonance flute. A requiem. A message in case anyone, anything, ever found it. This world's going to change, she whispered. Milo stood beside her, holding the patched remains of the translator, now silent. They'll come for it again, he said. The corporations, the strip miners, the scavengers. Maybe, Z nodded, but they'll find something waiting. She gestured to the ridge, where the team had left it, a cairn, not just for the dragon, but for every species humanity had misunderstood, overwritten, forgotten. A monument made from the wreckage of war and the song of memory. Axel approached, chewing on a ration bar like it owed him money. "Transmission complete," he said, thumbing toward the drone uplink. "Sent to command unedited. Every sound, every heartbeat, every mistake we made." Rissa arched a brow. "Including your unauthorized plasma modifications?" "Especially those." She almost smiled. Axel turned serious for a beat. "You think they'll believe us?" "No," Rissa said. Then, after a pause, "But they'll listen." The team stood together as the last drone took off, carrying the signal into deep space, coded, amplified, repeated every few hours. Not a warning, not a threat. Just one phrase, repeated in over 600 dialects. "We met the dragon. We survived. Not by fighting, but by understanding." Cheat. 2 weeks later, the Calypsa, a Terran diplomatic carrier, arrived with a recovery and cleanup crew. Bureaucrats, suits, engineers, all of them expecting carnage, possibly glory. What they found instead was a preserved habitat, untouched and designated under Terran unified law as a non-contact cultural sanctuary. They found the Dragon Monument, the data logs, the message. They found 4 soldiers, tired and grimy, sipping recycled water and playing cards under the shadow of a molten ridge. Z handed the lead diplomat the resonance flute. "It speaks clearer than I do." Milo uploaded the logs with a polite nod. Axel tossed a wrench at someone who insulted the dragon's design structure. And Rissa? She gave her report. Brief, clean, honest. But when she finished, she looked the brass in the eye and said, "If your next move is weapons testing, I suggest you bring better dragons." A month later, the footage leaked. Someone, probably Milo, uploaded the full encounter to the Terranet under the title, "Alien Dragon versus Humanity's Toughest. Let's see who comes out on top." It went viral, not because of the action, not even because of the dragon, but because of the ending. Because after all the destruction, all the chaos, all the silence, humanity did what no one expected. We apologized. And the galaxy, somehow, hadn't seen that coming. Aftermath. The new legend. Velkaroon Prime was renamed, not by decree, not by committee. The name just stuck, passed from pilot to pilot, from colony to colony. Vatra's Rest. Scholars debated if Vatra was the dragon, a myth, a metaphor, but to those who were there, he was real. The fire in his eyes, the rage in his bones, the sorrow in his breath, and the sacrifice that saved not just his kind, but ours. Years later, Z stood under the stars, teaching cadets how to listen to a world before judging it. Milo worked with alien linguists to decode extinct star songs. His official title was Cultural Interface Specialist, unofficially Space Therapist. Axel led a merc team known as the Broken Wings. Their motto? No plan survives contact, but we do. And Rissa? She retired. Lived on a ridge overlooking the crater. Sometimes, late at night, she would hear the wind shift just right, and she'd swear that she heard wings again, not in the sky, but in the soul of the world.